John's led us in a study which included at the end of the study the words of the Lord to Joshua in chapter 1, that as God was with Moses, now God was with Joshua, and that Joshua should be strong and courageous, that he should not be afraid, for the Lord his God would be with him wherever he went. And so they are about to possess the promised land, drive out the pagan nations who are there, and they're going to be able to live in the land that God has promised them for generations to come. Now, I have a map here that I'm going to point out here for a couple of minutes so we understand what is about to happen. Because to enter the promised land, the people of God, children of Israel, are going to have to cross over the Jordan River. They have come out of Egypt, which is way down here off the map, and they have come up, and now they're on the eastern side of away from the promised land in this area, and they're going to have to cross over this way, westward, across the Jordan River. They are currently camped in Joshua chapter 2 in this area, and the place of Shittim is mentioned in Joshua chapter 2 and in Joshua chapter 3. So Joshua chapter 2 is the story where Joshua sends 2 spies from Shittim across the Jordan River to Jericho. So in Joshua chapter 2, verse 1, we read, "Then Joshua, son of Nun, secretly sent 2 spies from Shittim. Go look over the land," he said, "especially Jericho." So once again, let's look at the map for a moment. So from this place called Shittim, he's going to send 2 spies across the Jordan River to the city of Jericho. So they went and entered the house of a prostitute named Rahab and stayed there. Now, let's quickly review what happens in Joshua chapter 2. How does Rahab respond to 2 men who are strangers, Israelites, arriving at her house? And we learn later in chapter 2, verse 15, that her house is in the city wall. You can imagine an apartment. The city walls of Jericho were very high, very well fortified, and many people lived in the city walls. One scholar likened it to the middle class folks would live in apartments, if you will, in the city walls, and that's where she's doing, living with her family and conducting her business. Now, does she turn these spies in when authorities come looking for them? The authorities are suspicious. They're wondering, we need to be on the lookout for spies coming. Does she turn the spies in, or does she hide them? She hides them, okay? And very good. She hides these 2 men on the roof of her house, of her apartment, if you will. Now, the key paragraph I want to point out here is Rahab explaining why she did this, okay? And that is Joshua chapter 2, verses 8 through 13. It's 2 paragraphs, actually. Brother Mike, would you mind reading that for us?
Mm-hmm. Before the spies lay down for the night, she went up on the roof and said to them, "I know that the Lord has given you this land, and that a great fear of you all has fallen on us, so that all who live in this country are melting in fear because of you. We have heard now, or how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to Sihon and Og, the 2 kings of the Amorites east of the Jordan, whom you completely destroyed. When we heard of it, our hearts melted in fear, and everyone's courage fell because of you. For the Lord your God is God in heaven, above and on the earth below. Now then, please swear to me by the Lord that you will show kindness to my family, because I have shown kindness to you. Give me a sure sign that you will spare the lives of my father and mother, my brothers and sisters, and all who belong to them, and that you will save us from death.
Okay, could you read just one more verse, verse 14?
Our lives were your lives, the men assured her. If you don't tell what we are doing, we will treat you kindly and faithfully when the Lord gives us the land.
Okay, so Rahab has this combination of fear of God and faith in God. Now she's living among pagans, but she says that a great fear of you has fallen on all of us around here, because we've heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea and how he helped you defeat Sihon and Og. Now on this map, you can see down here where the Amorites were living, Sihon is mentioned. He was the king of the Amorites, and he reigned in Heshbon here. And then up here, north of that, it was Og, who also reigned up here. And they had a battle in this place called Edrei. Okay? So that happened before Moses died, that the Israelites had asked permission to pass through there so that they could then cross over to the Holy Land. But Sihon said, no, I'm not going to allow you. And a war happened. But God allowed the Israelites, God helped the Israelites to defeat totally Sihon and his army. And then the same thing happened with Og. Og decided to come and fight against the Israelites as well. Okay, so now the people over here in Jericho, that's not too far away, she says, we've heard about all of that happened. How your God, the Lord, has helped you defeat Sihon and Og. Now, you can read more about the details in Numbers chapter 21 about those two battles, and in Deuteronomy chapter 2 and 3, Moses retells the story. And I believe it's in the book of Numbers, we learn that Og, his bed was 14 feet long. So he apparently was a giant. But our God is greater than any giant in the land. And so they had defeated these two people, okay? So Rahab asks, I've been kind to you two spies. I ask you, when you come and you defeat the city of Jericho, would you be kind to me and my family? So later in the book of Joshua, chapter 6, we have the famous story where Joshua fought the battle of Jericho. He obeys the Lord's instructions. The walls fall down. They defeat the city of Jericho, and they are kind to Rahab and her family. Okay? So they keep the promise, and I'll just read that very quickly from Joshua chapter 6. Joshua said to the two men who had spied out the land, go into the prostitute's house and bring her out and all who belong to her in accordance with your oath to her. So the young men who had done the spying went in and brought out Rahab, her father and mother, her brothers and sisters, and all who belonged to her. They brought out her entire family and put them in a place outside the camp of Israel. Joshua 6 verse 24 says, then they burned the whole city and everything in it, but they put the silver and gold and the articles of bronze and iron into the treasury of the Lord's house. But Joshua spared Rahab the prostitute with her family and all who belonged to her, because she hid the men Joshua had sent as spies to Jericho, and she lives among the Israelites this day. Now, a couple more comments about Rahab. You know, her life is transformed because of her faith in God, the God of Israel. She is welcomed into the community of God's people. Listen to the way one preacher put it. He said, Rahab is a beautiful example of the transforming power of faith. She risked her life, turned her back on a way of life that did not honor God, and walked away from everything but her closest family members, whom she brought into the community of God's people along with her. From that day on, she lived a completely different kind of life as a true hero of faith. So when she left the city of Jericho, she left behind her sinful life. She repented of her sins. Through her faith, she became a member of the Israelite community. We later learn that she became a loving wife to a man named Salmon. She became a loving mother to a son named Boaz. Guess what? That makes Rahab the great-great-grandmother of King David. And that puts Rahab in the genealogy of our Lord Jesus Christ. She was an ancestor in the line of the genealogy of our Lord Jesus Christ, and she is mentioned in Matthew chapter 1 in the genealogy of Jesus. So God's grace given to her through her faith in God, she found a new life through faith in God, a new community of God's people. Okay? Now, for the rest of our time together, we want to talk about the Israelites crossing over the Jordan River. Okay? So those two spies whom Rahab hid, they returned. Because she kept them safe, they are able to leave the city of Jericho, go back across the river, and report to Joshua over here on the eastern side of the Jordan River. And they said to Joshua, "The Lord has surely given the whole land into our hands. All the people are melting in fear because of us." So that sets the stage for Joshua chapter 3. And this is when all of the people of God are going to cross over the Jordan River. We read in Joshua chapter 3, verse 1, "Early in the morning, Joshua and all the Israelites set out from Shittim and went to the Jordan, where they camped before crossing over." So all the people, here's Shittim right here, and they're going to cross over the Jordan River. Okay? To get into the Holy Land. Now, I'd like to show you a video. It's about 16 minutes long about the Jordan River and its significance, and about the step of faith that the Israelites made when they crossed over the Jordan under the leadership of Joshua. Watch this.